In the ashes of a decimated battlefield on the edge of the Saurian expanse, a treaty was signed in blood and plasma. The Velari Empire, proud and towering with six-limbed warriors and crystalline armor, had finally surrendered after decades of war. Earth's victory came at a steep cost. Billions lost, planets scorched, and alliances strained. Yet amid this scorched galactic aftermath, a different kind of struggle brewed, not in war councils, but in a quiet farm on the terraformed moon of Lysaran. Commander Jason Reeve, now retired, ran a modest greenhouse farm, part therapy, part exile. He had turned away from the medals and titles, tired of politics and regrets. But the war never truly let go of its heroes. Not even in peace. She arrived without warning. A Velari widow. She stepped off the dropship barefoot, her skin a silver hue, eyes like twin stars behind a veil. Her name was Maela-Ru. And with her came two children, small, fragile versions of her kind, their crystalline spines only partially developed. Jason stood on the gravel path outside his farmhouse, rifle holstered, not because he feared her, but because habit clung like scars. "I am here for the deal," she said in fluent Terran. Her voice carried the depth of loss and purpose. He frowned. "What deal?" Maela's gaze didn't waver. "The war took my mate. Your people took my home. My children will not grow without protection, food, and peace. I offer myself in marriage." Jason blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" "Velari tradition demands we secure survival through alliance. I choose you. You defeated my husband in single combat, did you not?" Jason's stomach tightened. He remembered the duel. It wasn't just war, it was personal. Her husband had volunteered for a ceremonial fight after the last Velari stronghold fell. It was supposed to be symbolic. But when the blades clashed, it turned lethal. Jason hadn't meant to win. Or to kill. But he had. "I didn't know he had a family," Jason murmured. "You do now." The wind blew dust across the field. Silence stretched between them. Jason looked at the children. One clung to her leg. The other stood behind, trying to look brave. "I'm not looking for a wife," he said finally. Maela raised her chin. "Neither am I. I seek a sanctuary for my blood. In return, I will guard your land, protect your home, and offer you the shield of my name in Velari circles." Jason crossed his arms. "So what is this, a political marriage?" "It's a bold deal, as your people might say. One with terms and benefits. My presence will ensure you are not alone. And your presence gives my children a chance to grow in peace." There was no desperation in her words, only strength, worn but unbroken. Jason hesitated. "Give me one night." She nodded once and took the children to sit under the awning. That night, he didn't sleep. He remembered the war. Remembered Velari ambushes, their shrieking battle songs, their honor duels. He also remembered how, near the end, Velari fighters started laying down their weapons, not out of fear, but out of exhaustion. Maela had the same tired fire in her eyes. He poured himself a drink and stared at the stars through his cracked window. They used to call the Velari monsters. Now she was on his porch, offering herself not out of romance, but survival. By morning, he made his decision. They married under Lysaran law. Quietly. No guests. A local AI efficient logged it into the system. Life after that was strange. Maela didn't try to seduce him. She worked hard, tending the perimeter drones, reinforcing solar cells, helping with irrigation. Her children, Virex and Luma, slowly grew accustomed to Earth food and open skies. They were alien. All of them. But somehow, it began to feel like a household. Jason taught Virex how to plant Terran tomatoes. Luma sang Velari lullabies at night, sometimes unknowingly calming Jason's nightmares. One evening, He found Maela by the crops, hands glowing as she used Velari root binders to strengthen soil. Moonlight shimmered across her skin. "You never asked why I chose you," she said. Jason stood beside her. "I figured it was convenience." "No. It was deliberate. My mate spoke of you before he left for battle. He called you the man who fights like he mourns. I watched that duel. You could have ended it cruelly. You didn't. You honored him." Jason's throat tightened. "I killed him. You survived him. That is different." She turned to face him. "We Velari do not marry for love. We bond through action. Through shared responsibility. In time, perhaps, that becomes something more." Jason looked at her. Really looked. The war had hardened them both. But here, in the silence of stars and soil, something else was growing. "I didn't expect a family," he admitted. "Nor did I expect to find a second mate. Yet here we are." Over months, the bond grew. Not like a Terran romance with flowers and passion, but with routine, respect, and quiet moments. When a group of war refugees tried to loot the farm, Maela fought like a tempest, her crystalline blades gleaming in the sun. Jason covered her from the porch with his rifle. When Luma fell sick with a Velari fever, Jason stayed up 2 nights straight, monitoring her temperature, learning alien physiology on the fly. Maela wept, not out of weakness, but because she had someone beside her. One night, as they stood watching the stars, Jason finally said, "I think I understand now." Maela raised an eyebrow. "Understand what?" "The difference between peace and silence. With you, this place doesn't feel like hiding. It feels like starting over." She reached for his hand. Her touch was cool, but not distant. Then came the visit. A delegation from Velari's Provisional Council arrived unannounced. Their leader, a hard-eyed female named Seakala, demanded Maela return with them. "You were promised to the House of Taviayu. Your children carry bloodlines critical to the Council's reconstruction plans." Jason stepped in. "She's my wife. Earth law recognizes the union." Seakala snarled. "Human laws mean nothing to Velari. This is our matter." Maela's eyes narrowed. "No. My children are not bargaining chips. I made a deal, a bold deal. You will honor it." Seakala raised her hand, activating a summoning beacon. Jason drew his rifle. Before it could escalate, Luma stepped between them. The little girl stood tall, trembling but resolute. "I choose to stay," she said in both Terran and Velari. "This is my home now." Virex nodded silently. Seakala looked between them, fury and frustration battling in her expression. But Velari honor ran deep. Children declaring independence was a sacred right. She turned without another word, her delegation retreating into the dark. That night, the farm was quiet again. But not the same. Jason and Maela stood on the porch, watching the moon's rise. "You risked everything," he said. "I already lost one mate to duty," she whispered. "I will not lose another to politics." He turned to her. "So, is this more than a deal now?" Maela didn't smile often. But this time, she did. "Yes. Much more."